The federal government has identified a lack of access to affordable housing finance as one of the major causes of the housing deficit in Nigeria, with 80% of the citizens not being able to afford a mortgage as a measure to get a home. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, that's Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, said the major issue governments at all levels have to address in their desire to deliver sustainability to the citizens is the issue of affordability. The minister added that statistics have shown that almost half of Nigeria's population of over 201 million are poor and have weak purchasing power. He, however, said that it is against the background that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government, through the ministry, is planning to establish a national security housing fund. Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to discuss the housing crisis in Nigeria and how the government can facilitate access to mortgage to enhance access home ownerships. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Thank you for being here.
Thank you all being here.
Of course.
Thanks for being here.
Now, what specific policy changes are needed to make mortgages more accessible and affordable to the everyday average Nigerian?
Well, it's not a matter of policy changes, it's a matter of policy relevance and result-oriented policies. The intention has always been there, to make housing available to all Nigerians. Indeed, it is a UN human right to have shelter. See, the Europeans achieved that a long time ago, providing shelter, even for the jobless. But now things have changed. But in our own case, we never really started. Even though from colonial times to regional times, we have always had fine housing policies. But invariably, they are for the elites, civil servants, the people who can speak English, not for the masses. You can look around Lagos. Look around Lagos. People live under the bridge. People live anywhere. And it's not as if they want that. Some of them are street traders. They know where the traffic is moving, where they can sell their wares. They will not even go if government gives them affordable dwelling, they will stay there. So it's a time for government to do everything. And how they will do it, I don't really envy them. Because you have the rural-urban migration. People move to the urban areas in search of job and for a better standard of living. You can't stop that. Except, of course, and you can't even ignore that, there's the Fulani herdsman moving across the country in peaceful times, now causing terror and making people to vacate their homes and live in refugee camps or drift to the urban areas. You see, I think government should give special attention to the main city centers in Nigeria, like Ibadan, Kano, Kaduna, Aba, the areas where you have manufacturing, where you have people flocking to, and find a way of helping such states through social housing. Social housing is the answer, because many people cannot afford what is on the ground. If you look around Lagos, I will always use Lagos, because Lagos is the commercial capital of Nigeria. The former cabinet office, where I was employed as a civil servant, at Moloney Street there, is occupied by illegal aliens. You can't even know. And they pay rent to some people. Only God knows where they pay rent. When NEPA comes to cut their bills, they fight NEPA or settle NEPA. The Independence building is just a 25-story building. It's abandoned. Don't talk of the Federal Secretariat. And then you see, go to the cities, the major cities, the capitals of the various states. People are hoarding, they are going there to earn a living. So if government goes out of its way to create housing estates, which are in the first instance are not affordable, these people will turn them into ghost towns. Get me? Because they are attracted like a magnet to places where they can fetch a living. So government's intention is absolutely in good faith, but its relevance to the problem and needs of the people who need the housing is a different ballgame. Get me? So they have to be able to match what they intend to do with the reality of what is on the ground. That people are constantly migrating, most especially to Lagos. I don't know how many housing units they can create in Lagos. Because see, people fend for themselves in Lagos. Go to Kokomaiko. New areas are springing up in Lagos. So that even the major areas, Ebutimeta, Mushin and all that, they have dwindled the size and population together with the boroughs that have sprung up on the outskirts. And people live there. Get me? People live there. So government must have a way to meet their needs. Either, you see, it is not the matter of creating fresh housing units because they won't go there, because they can't afford it. And government knows that. And government is always trying to do that because it is welfareist. But then, look at Nigeria now. Building materials are rising. But some Nigerians still make ends meet, they build houses. So, because the ultimate mark of a success of a Nigerian is to have your house, not renting. I won't talk of rent control for people. Will always find where to live. And where to live have some consideration, criteria too. They want to be in a place where their children will go to school easily, where they too will get to work easily, and things like that. So I remember when Jack Conde started this free education in Lagos. I was living in Abuja. If you saw the number of people trooping out with children going to school, you can't believe it. You know so many families live in that area. The place is like a slum, but people live there. Kokomaiko, go ahead. And invariably, they make ends meet, they improve their environment. But I think it is time for government to find out the areas people migrate to, people want to live in, and make those people livable, those places livable and affordable. And yes, affordable in human standards. Yes.
Right then, I mean, we've seen the FMBN introduce various products like the National Housing Fund Mortgage Loan and the Rent-to-Own scheme in the past. When we look at how well those have fared over the last couple of years, do you think we're getting closer to solving this problem? And I also wonder off the back end of that if there may be any success stories or best practices from other countries that Nigeria can learn from in helping to address our housing crisis.
First one on best practices.
Yes.
You copy the socialist model. Get me? Or Britain after the Second World War, when they were rebuilding Germany and they made shelter, right to shelter, a right for everybody. The French still do it. They have housing, social housing. You get me now for everybody. And that's why you have all these people from the colonies. They have estates for them. It's now because they don't maintain them now that you have crime. Or some people are saying that they are indigenous. They are taking care of strangers more than themselves. That is why their politics is changing. And Macron is losing. But you see, those are the examples we could follow. But we are not socialists. And then you actually, even while looking at that, don't forget, you are still talking of rancing and nomadism. I know that one, that insecurity is crippling literally every other thing you want to do, including our unity and our peace of mind as a nation. Those people don't want housing. But they are, see, invariably, whether you like it or not, they are stuck with the Fulani. And the Fulani hold the power, whatever. Yeah, in Nigeria. So Nigeria is a multicultural, multi-ethnic nation. So we must find a way of, it cannot be a federal issue. That's right. The federal government, how many units will they build? How many, you see the needs of those in Babsi in terms of housing are different from those of the southeast, southwest. The oil area, they are different.
Yeah.
Up to now, the Ijaw still live, or if you see a Kobri now, you still see them living on the river.
Mr. Sobowale, I would like to come in there. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, we always appreciate your analysis and time.